Hi, Tim Hegarty again, Virtual Training Company, C++ Fundamentals. We're going to take a short look at the iteration statements. That's the official term for them. We know them as the for while and do while. They're exactly the same as they were in C, so I'm not even going to write you any code or anything for them. By this time, you ought to know what they are. They are looping constructs. They control how many times a compound statement or a block, as we saw earlier, of compound statements, how many times that is executed. There are three sections to it: initialization, evaluation, and increment. There's three sections like that to every iteration statement. So the statement, the for loop, does have a space for initialization in it. It evaluates at the top of the loop before entry into the statement block, and it does have a place for an increment as well. The while loop does not have its own initialization, so you have to do it, you have to get everything set for the while to start. The evaluation is again at the top. It's an entry controlled loop, so you can't get into the block of the while unless you meet the criteria. Kind of a doorman at the gate. The increment is also hand done. You have to do your own incrementing. There's no place in the loop for the increment to occur. The do while statement does not have its own initialization. You have to do it. It's evaluated at the bottom. This do while is an exit controlled loop, and it does not have its own increment. You have to take care of incrementing or changing something so that you can eventually get out of the loop. The do while will let you in the building but not out until you meet the criteria. So if we take a look at them here, the while is very simple. Then there's an expression in it, and then a statement. Remember that the statement can be a block of statements surrounded by braces. So we have to get everything set up, initialized, and then we do a test in while expression. We do a test in that expression. If that test to be true, then we go on in and perform the statement afterward. Now, if you happen to have an object or something, a class as that, or a class object as that expression, you have to have a method in there that will evaluate to a true or false, so that it will come out to be a zero or non-zero value. It's just something to keep in mind. The for loop, it has three different sections to it. It has an initialization expression at the beginning, then a semicolon, then the conditional expression, another semicolon, and then the looping expression, which is the increment or something that's changing. Then you have the actual statements that are controlled by the for. And again, that single word statement, that could also be a block of statements there. But the for loop is nice where it gets everything in one place for you. Initialization, conditionals, and looping statements. The do, you have a do and then the block, or a single statement that's going to occur while something is true. So in a do loop, you will always do the block of statements at least once. So you have to make sure that everything is initialized and you're all ready to go. You'll come in and do those statements, and then you'll see, should we do them again with the while at the bottom. And if you should, you'll go back to the do and do all the statements again, and then hit the while. Should we do them again? And so on. And notice that there is a semicolon after that closed paren on the while of a do while. There is not one, of course, on the while or the definition of the for when we start the control structure of the for. So that's iteration statements. And again, they're just a fundamental. They're the same as they were in C. And break and continue, and those things also function in these as well. And we've seen those statements in other parts of this tutorial and in the C programming. But iteration statements.